The purple Garurumon engine is just so good to the point that it's the perfect engine to be playing alongside with Beelstar as she makes a comeback. Digi-Egg cards, we are playing purple base and we're utilizing the starter deck 16 Sunomon, which is when attacking, not once per turn. If you have 6 or fewer cards in your hand, you get to draw one essentially. And having that draw power is fantastic for this deck because you can do a lot of those drawing and trashing combos. So a lot of them are going to be very familiar with the Metal Garurumon deck, which we talked about from before. But as we continue with the whole package, definitely 4 copies of Garurumon start your main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, you get to gain a memory with it. And the Inheritable gives you, when attacking once per turn, draw 1, trash 1. Like I mentioned, you're going to be seeing a lot of these as you go out and through the entire sort of package when it comes to Garurumon. We also have Garurumon from Starter Deck 6, same effect, but not once per turn when it comes to Inheritable, so being able to do that multiple times is going to give you a lot of value. It is restricted down to 1, which is why we only keep like 1 copy, but if you do see it, you definitely want to Digivolve into it as much as possible for sure too. And yeah, most of this, trust me guys, this is not a Garurumon deck, but we have a lot of Garurumon and Garurumon stuff to talk about because of it's just such a good engine for it. X from EX5, fantastic searcher, being able to, to grab 2 pieces potentially by revealing top 4, and then afterwards you have to trash a card from your hand. If you do grab something, it can Digivolve for 0 on top of Sunomon or Garurumon to give you that kind of value. Otherwise, it's on play, you do it for like that instead. And with its Inheritable, all turns once per turn, if this Digimon would be deleted by battle, you get to basically return 2 cards that are non-Digi-Egg from your trash back to the bottom of your deck, and then you get to prevent it from, being deleted by battle that one time. So again, very, very powerful card, really good one for sure. And to round off for all the rookies, we are playing double Floodgates, 2 Gazis, and 2 Psych. Definitely a really, really good sort of like meta call depending on what you need to counter, buy yourself an entire turn with these Floodgate rookies. Gazi is probably the more ideal one just because Psychmon does counter yourself a little bit. That's why you want to make sure that you set yourself up and in a specific situation where you can slow down your opponent. That's when you sort of put your Psychmon afterwards, and that's how you want to play around it, which I'll show you more in the combos later on as well. But yeah, 2-2 split when it comes to the Floodgate rookies there, and as we get into our level 4s. Like I mentioned before, the purple Garurumon from Starter Deck 6 is always the main one to go just because of its when attacking, draw 1, trash 1 is not once per turn. You get to utilize this effect as much as you can, and you want to be able to do that as much as possible all in the same time because you really need to set up cards in your trash and find specific pieces all in together as you go. Therefore, you're also going to be Digivolving into Garurumon X Antibody as well, which is really good for 0 cost. Get to draw 2, trash 2, and if Garurumon is underneath or X Antibody, you get to gain 1 memory back afterwards too, which is always very beneficial and really great value when you Digivolve it that way. And then it's Inheritable just like X, all turns once per turn. When it would be deleted by battle, you get to basically bottom deck 2 Digimon cards, non-Digi-Egg cards specifically, back from trash to the bottom of your deck to prevent it from being deleted by battle that one time. Is just absolutely insane. It's like pseudo jamming essentially for the entire deck. Since we are talking about like Garurumon and the whole Garurumon X package line with both these cards, that we know that both these right here are going to be restricted down to 1 when March comes along. So if you guys want to see updated builds of Beelstar, which probably might fundamentally change greatly when it comes to how you want to play it as well, definitely be sure to subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and give this video a like to stay tuned for it. And if you want to see earlier deck lists that I probably would be working on changes and iterations for Beelstar specifically, definitely join the AVAULT Club as you get to see the deck list before everyone else. So definitely stay tuned for that, and I appreciate the support. Then this is a Beelstar deck, so we are running 1 copy of Genkakumon Promote here just for the rush, because when you go on play rush, you can make an attack and swing with it, which is always really helpful. Sometimes it feels bad, but you might be able to Digivolve for 1 cost on top of your level 4 just to cycle 1 extra card if you really need to. But otherwise, yeah, it's mainly for the nail bone combo that we'll showcase more later on too. Now let's talk about our level 5s. 3 copies of WereGarurumon here. We don't need to maximize too much on the WereGarurumons essentially because it's sort of just like a mini engine that we're sort of playing. It is partially the bigger base of the entire engine, but as we go towards the top end, a lot of things changes differently compared to the standard Metal Garurumon deck. Anyways, this one lets you sort of like unsuspend and make multiple attacks when attacking once returned by trashing one card from your hand, and then it's inheritable, also deleting level 4 or lower Digimon, which is always nice to see to have if you need to get rid of floodgates on the opponent's side. Then we got 2 copies of Garurumon X, also just to unsuspend more for when digivolving, trash more cards from your hand, grab something back from your trash as well at the same time if you have a Garurumon underneath it, and then inheritable to also let you unsuspend with your top end when you do sometimes need to get into it. Because when it comes to top end, we're only just playing one Metal Garurumon Ace. You guys can play an extra copy if you want to, but we don't really need to generally. Main of our attacking offensive side of power really just comes from our level 5s. Our level 5 engine and below is really just to help us to draw and trash cards, and then we attack, and then we play the top end completely differently. So it's just nice to have as a one-off, sometimes the blast stage evolve, sometimes to sort of go for a bit of aggression and remove more things. And that's also the reason why I'm also just playing one copy of Metal Garurumon X Antibody here as well, which is kind of more applicable for Beelstar because it's a little bit of a slower deck. You want to be able to control a little bit more, delete more things, have that blanket ice wall steroids on the opponent's turn for that one turn as well, and having that blocker is just kind of nice if you ever do want to go for those level 6 plays as you digivolve into it. But like I mentioned, a lot of focus is just level 5s because afterwards when it comes to your level 6s, you're just hard playing your Beelstars non-stop, which is why we're playing 4 copies of Beelstar in this deck, which is your main boss Digimon deck, where you would trash a lot of 7-cost options as you go from your deck, so then you can potentially reduce her play cost down to 1 or even down to 0 in the later stages of the game. The later the game goes, the better it is for her because then you can play her for free, and by doing so, you return 1 option card, specifically 7 costs, from your trash back to your hand, and you get to use 1 in your hand as well. So really, really good card because we're going to talk about a lot of those options there when it comes to her. But that's it for level 6s. Then just for a level 7 to round off, you can get into Ruin mode, just to like, you know, really, really powerful staple card that can stop many decks in general from pushing up from the raising and buy yourself an entire turn, just because it can digivolve on top of Beelstar. Afterwards, you don't have any use for it as well. So it's because you're just beating down your opponent with Beelstar and then moving forward. Then for Tamers, we're actually playing 1 copy of Matt, just kind of nice to have here as a memory tamer. You do draw into a lot of trash cards as well at the same time, so be able to utilize its secondary effect to gain a memory back as well is kind of decent. Definitely comes in handy for sure in this particular build. But that's it for Tamers. We're going to talk about all of our options, and let's begin with the 7-cost stuff right here. For the blue stuff, we have 4 copies of Kakaida's Breath. Just bounce any of your opponent's Digimon with no restrictions of terms of level, DP, or play cost or whatsoever. It's just always fantastic, so you can take your move and bounce something back. We also have 3 copies of Fly Bullet. Deleting anything that is like level 6 or lower is always going to be fantastic too. Really, really good removal. And then also 3 copies of Rival's Barrage here to delete your opponent's Digimon with the highest level as well. We don't really get to utilize its delay effect just because we don't really trash cards from the top of our deck. So therefore it's just another like removal option that we're mainly just playing just for the sake of. And then there's also 2 copies of Nailbone, which is incredibly crucial because it lets you play a purple level 3 and a purple level 4 Digimon from your trash, so then you can play 2 bodies. That's when you want to play your Genkakumon Promote, and that's when you want to play your Floodgate rookies to stop your opponents from playing as well. And then security effect lets you play 1 level 4 lower purple Digimon card from your trash, but you don't get any on-play effects whatsoever. But yeah, Nailbone is helping you go wide for those strategies. And then last but not least, 1 Happy Bullet Shower, just to delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. Potentially you can remove multiple things, which is always going to be really good for it as well. And that's it for all of our 7-cost option cards. Really great because you set up your potential security bombs to really combat against the entire meta. Really good to, you know, sometimes surprise your opponents with all the different option cards you have, all the removal you have, and you're also maintaining a lot of early game aggression and attacks when it comes to your Garurumon package. But anyways, we also run 1 copy of X Antibody Protoform, which I find very useful in this particular deck as well. Security add to your hand, and then if you have a Digimon in play, you get to ignore its color requirements essentially. Its main effects lets one of your Digimon without X Antibody in its sources, the option card particularly, Digivolve into a Digimon with X Antibody in its trait from your hand, and then you get to reduce the Digivolve cost by 1. And then if you did, you place this card as a bottom source of its Digivolution card. Its rule name is also considered as X Antibody, so you can't stack multiple on top of each other, but its inheritable that it provides is really nice when it comes to defensive, because all turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area, other by one of your own effects from this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you return 1 Digimon card to the hand, And then you get to place this card to the top of your security stack, so you get to cycle it back, which comes in clutch in many plays, which is always really useful and a very fun, cool, nice card to have as a one-off for this particular deck overall. Last but not least, just one Ice Wall, because we do play enough like blue sources to sort of meet for our blue options. Ice Wall is just always fantastic, slow down the game, or even security just to like lose 2 memory can come in nice clutch situations as well. That's it for the 50 card main deck. Let's talk about some other tech choices that you guys might be able to include. In Beelstar, you can definitely play Death-X as well if you want to, which is always a fantastic card, also really good staple, or as well as AVAULT Schwarmer, just to delete all Digimon with play cost 7 or less in general to, you know, wide remove boards, which is absolutely crazy. Sometimes can come in clutch, but that's really it when it comes to all the other cards I want to talk about. If you guys have any other cooler ideas or other suggestions, definitely let me know in the comments down below as well. Alright, combos and how to play the BeelStarmon deck. If you guys watch the Metal Garurumon guide, you guys will find this very similar, but there are some minor differences as you're going up your stack and towards the top end overall. So we are playing the Garurumon package, which is why you do want to see in your opening hand like the Garurumon cards and the Gabumon cards that you can Digivolve. These are the priority cards that you want to see in your opening hand. You do run a lot of like removal option cards in this deck, so chances are you do see a couple of them in your opening hand. So you don't really want to see them, but as long as you see your level 3 and your 4 line, you're okay. You're going to be chilling. So of course you hatch your Digi-Egg and you would Digivolve into your Gabumon, and then this is at times where you might actually just want to hard play the Gabbu-X past your opponent, you know, if you're starting first. But if you're going second, you really ideally want to sort of like build your stack to the optimal point where you could push out the Gabbu, gain a memory, Digivolve into Gabbu-X, cycle through a bunch of cards, trash card, draw and trash, search and trash cards, and cards that you're trashing are going to be pretty much obviously your 7 cost options. Sometimes you might want to use your 7 cost options early, that you might have to use it hard to, you know, hard removal some stuff, but otherwise, you know, juggle on your resources as you will, because the more you rack up, eventually your Beelstar is going to be cheaper and cheaper as you get. That's the whole idea of trying to get into this anyways to begin with. So of course, you know, same whole Gabu, Garurumon shenanigans, you Digivolve into Garurumon and ideally your Garurumon X, and then your Garurumon X is gonna let you draw and trash cards. In any moment, if you can't really like see the optimal stack, this is why I really like Proto X Antibody Proto Form, because let's just say you have Gabu X right here. You can still use Proto Form, Digivolve into Garuru X for 2 costs, and then tuck it underneath instead, and still get to resolve the full capacity of effects of drawing 2, trashing 2, and then gaining a memory back as well, just like that. But anyways, ideally, like I said, you know, Digivolving into your stack, that's how you kind of want to see it as much as possible. Then you Digivolve into your 5 as well. Eventually, you know, you would swing, draw, and trash cards as much as you can. Make sure to draw with Sunomon. Make sure to count the cards in your hand and resolve the sequence like in order, so that you can always get the maximum value by drawing as much as you can via this effect, because it's not once per turn as well. You know, by doing Garurumon, you can trash more cards. You want to trash again more. Ideally, everything you're trashing is all going to be about your 7 cost options. That's the only cards that you really want to be trashing. Sometimes you might have to trash your Beelstar in the early stages of games, so Beelstar also counts for itself when it comes to you know, reducing its play cost potentially. If you have multiples Beelstar, you know, you only really need 1 or 2 in most games anyways. If you have Genkaku Kamuro, you want to set that up in the trash as well. Simple as that. And as you're attacking, you're really just level 5 focus. You don't really go into your level 6 when it comes to the Metal Guard. That's when it comes to different. You're not trying to go into Metal Guard Ace as much. You're not trying to go for like the finishing combo. You can go into this, which is like a nice, like versatile, like choice to do so sometimes. Going to Metal Garurumon or even Metal Garurumon X for certain situations and whatnot. But I would just keep using Wereguru to attack. And then you also eventually Digivolve into Weregar X, trash more options into your trash and set up more of these, and then you get to unsuspend, swing, trash as much as you can, and keep attacking. And that's kind of your offensive playstyle and beatdown. Once you chip away your opponent's security down to like 2 or 3, you're pretty much set, because once you have this, then you start playing BeelStarmon for reduced cost, and you use any of your whole arsenal of your 7 cost options to control the board, delete your opponent's stuff, all at the same time. The nice thing about this deck is also because it's so like bomb heavy when it comes to options, chances are you normally would see 1 or 2 copies of one of these bombs in the security at some point to disrupt your opponent's plays, to buy yourself enough time so that when you go into Beelstar, you can continue to do the same thing. You know, for example, you can even play Nailbone. By playing Nailbone, you get to play back Ginkakumon Promote. And as well, one of the floodgate rookies, depending on the matchup that you need. Gazi would be the more ideal one. Psychmon, you know, stops yourself as well, so keep that in mind. But against certain decks, it's just really, really good to, you know, buy yourself an entire turn. So depending on what you have set on the board, if you establish enough momentum already, then maybe that's when you go for Psych. But anyways, you attack, and then once Beelstar is out, you just attack with Beelstar nonstop. That's all you really need to do. You want to continue to build into your WereGar X. If you have a second stack that you can build in Raising, you continue to do the same and repeat all this combo and draw and trash as much as you can so that you can play Beelstar eventually for free. And then depending on the situation, you might even just go into Ruin mode if you need to on top of your Beelstar to finish off. Sometimes you go into Metal Garurumon Ace even to pop more things, or even like Blast Digivolve and pass turn against your opponent, which is kind of cool as well. Or you might even, like I mentioned earlier, go into Metal Gar X on top to top it all off, or even go directly on top of like this, you know, so you can have removal and things, delete things, Ice Wall Blanket, buy yourself an entire turn, which is really good because Beelstar thrives the longer the game goes, because once the longer the game goes, the more cards you have in trash, the more you can play Beelstar for free, and then you would use your utility of different 7-cost options to control into your favor and get advantages and then eventually win that way. And one more really important tip is that if you haven't done so yet, be sure to check out the AVAULT store to grab yourself some awesome merch right away. If you guys haven't done so yet, also, if you want to see the gameplay videos and learn more how this deck works and all of it in action, be sure to watch this video right here, right now. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.